happens when you bring a director to work on a franchise he really didn't want to go back to and was already establishing his own style. You get Batman Returns. Batman Returns has very little to do with the first Batman movie, which seems strange. You got 3 characters from that movie showing up here, and that's really about it. They make a reference to the first movie, they make a reference to the Joker, but other than that, Batman's in the movie and it focuses on a completely different story. You have this tycoon played by Christopher Walken, and he wants to seek aid from the Penguin because he blackmails him and feels that if he makes him mayor, that would help the Penguin help him get his textile factory. I'll stop doing the review in the Christopher Walken voice, but point being, Christopher Walken teams up with the Penguin so that Walken can build his textile factory that's very contaminated and will cause a lot of pollution. The Penguin wants to scheme taking all the firstborn children of Gotham as like a way to get back at how his parents treated him because he's this deformed little Birdman. And the Batman tries to stop the Penguin. However, if that was not enough, you already got Christopher Walken and the freaking Penguin as your villains, you get Catwoman. And Catwoman is the secretary to Christopher Walken's character who he pushes out of a window because she finds out too much about his polluted power plant. And for some ungodly reason, she gets cat powers. Most Catwoman in the comics didn't have powers, but she does. And I'm willing to forgive Tim Burton for that because he was not really a fan of the comics, but understands what works. But the thing about this movie is that there is so many things going on in this movie that just doesn't work. Whereas I feel like Tim Burton was given a little too much creative influence in this film, probably because of the success of Edward Scissorhands. But regardless of that, I really have a hard time finding out what I really like about this film. One of the things I felt was kind of backhanded from the first Batman film was the fact that it was the contrast between 2 characters that are similar, the Joker versus the Batman. Whereas in this film, the Catwoman and Batman are in a similar situation, but for some reason they're attracted to each other. So I'm guessing because the Joker didn't have a uterus, he found Catwoman to be more attractive. Who knows? Either way, Batman Returns is a drop in quality from the first Batman movie, and I was really trying hard to find a lot of things that worked in this movie. I could not. Even the city itself, they use Bo Welch, don't get me wrong, Bo Welch is a great production designer, but compared to the production design of the first Batman movie, it felt like a city. This, every time I watch this movie, it looks like a set. Nothing buys me to the fact that this is Gotham City. It looks like a Hollywood set. Kind of disappointing, especially when you come out of something as grand as the Gotham City from the first movie. And I hate the fact that I'm drawing so many comparisons to that film, but I just feel like a lot of things worked in that film, partly due to the fact that it was focused. There's no focus in this film. You could have had just one villain in this film, and it would have worked. For some reason, Vicky Vale doesn't stay in this film. Instead, you have characters like Catwoman, who, don't get me wrong, is pretty cool, I guess in her own movie, but in this one just kind of felt a little unnecessary. And like I said, the attraction between her and Batman just didn't work. In the comics it works well. In The Dark Knight Returns, and I can't believe I'm saying this, in The Dark Knight Returns I actually think it did work a little bit better there. Here, not so much. Batman Returns, even on its own right, is not really a good superhero flick. Do I think there's some neat things, neat touches? Maybe the production design at the very least was very nice to look at, but as far as the story goes, if you really want a good story, you're not gonna find it in this flick. Which is to say, if I had to rate it, I would just give it a D. For trying. I mean, I still, like I mentioned before, the visual style is good to look at, but again, the Gotham City does look like a set, but the fact that it's set in Christmas time, so it gives you this nice visual flair in that aspect. Either way, not much else to say. Not a fan of Batman Returns. I know a lot of other people are fans of Batman Returns, and hey, more power to them. But either way, not a fan. But the next time we come back, we'll be going into Tim Burton's first biopic. Stay tuned, and we will be watching my review of Ed Wood.